Stephen Moore joins me now, senior economic writer for the Wall Street Journal, and Lanny Davis, former special counsel for the Clinton administration and a Fox News contributor. Gentlemen, welcome. Good to have you with us this morning. So, Steve, let's get your take first on what the president had to say about the economy.
Well, I think it's a little premature for that mission accomplished banner, and I think this could come back to haunt the president in 7 or 8 months. There's no question he got a very good jobs number on Friday. A very positive report, Lanny, no question about it. The question is whether it's sustainable. And I want to just give you one statistic to think about, Martha. We're still 5.5 million jobs lower than we were in 2008. So the idea that we've turned around the economy, I don't think that's something most voters believe right now. In fact, one other statistic, Lanny, 40% of Americans today are still worried about losing their jobs. That's the people who have jobs that think this economy is so fragile and built on such sand that the economy may collapse and they may lose their job.
All right, Lanny, yeah, you just got handed a few more new statistics, and the president, clearly was feeling confident. He had to have been very happy coming off that Friday unemployment report to be going in to do that interview over this weekend.
Well, I hate to hurt Steve's credibility with conservative audiences, but I tend to agree with him on everything he just said.
I'm dead.
Oh, boy.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Steve. I'll try to help a little bit by at least supporting the thrust of what President Obama said, which is there has been a turnaround. There's no doubt the data shows 3 million plus new private sector jobs. It doesn't include the lost public sector jobs, but of course conservatives like that. But I do think it's premature to announce that he deserves re-election, and I'm sorry that he did that. I more would like him to be the way Ronald Reagan was in '83 and '84, coming out of a deep recession where unemployment went up 10%, where he had passed the greatest tax increase in American history in 1982, Steve. That's your man, Ronald Reagan. And then he did a deal with Tip O'Neill on Social Security, which raised taxes and cut back benefits to save Social Security. And he was coming out of a recession, but what he said is not that we've solved the problems, but it's morning in America. That is, we're heading in the right direction. That, to me, is what President Obama
meant,
that would be and that's a good argument.
Let's take a look at the unemployment numbers. I just want to show people the chart. Because we show them this on a regular basis when we get the Thursday numbers and then the monthly numbers. Clearly, the chart has been improving. And I want to show you one other number while we're all throwing numbers out here. This is a look at the people who are out of work. And if we have that number, we can put that one up as well. Because the folks that are still looking, there you go, January of 2009, this is the number of duration of unemployment, out of work for 6 months or more. Back in 2009, 2.69 million Americans. Today, those out of work more than 6 months, 6 or more, 5.5 million people. That's a big number, Steve.
Yeah, it is. Look, I think one of the big problems for President Obama is that you still have such economic pessimism out there in terms of where this economy is headed. I mean, a lot of Americans think that we kind of built this recovery to this extent it even exists based on $5 trillion of debt, and that's a very frightening number. Now, it's interesting, Lanny, that you brought up the 1980 election, because I think this is going to be very similar to that Carter-Reagan election. What Reagan asked the American people, as you recall, Martha, is, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? And Lanny, I believe if the American people go to the polls in November and think I'm better off than I was 4 years ago, then yes, President Obama will win this election. But I think there's still a significant majority who think that they're not better off than they were 4 years ago.
Quick thought on that, Lanny, if you can.
Quick thought is, again, Steve has a point. If he looks at 1980, I'd rather not remember 1980 and look at what Reagan did in '84 when we were still in a recession, but the trend lines were positive, and that's where the morning in America. I would run that Reagan commercial if I were in the Obama campaign back to back with that declining chart and say, we're heading in the right direction. It's morning in America again, and that would be a successful
a lot of people feel like that. That is the message that he needs to tap into. Lanny, thank you so much. Always great to see you. Steve Moore, always great to see you as well. Thanks, gentlemen.
Great to be with you.